Morning, friend. I literally just finished eating my breakfast, and I love to film these outside because the light is nice, the birds are singing, the squirrels are chasing each other, and literally just came in 2 seconds ago, and the lawn guy came for across the street. So we get to have extra noise today. We get to have the lawnmower in the background, which just makes me laugh anyway, because I love doing them outside more than it bothers me with having a lawnmower in the backyard, in the back sound, because you know what? Having a lawnmower sound means that it's summertime, which means people's kids are getting out of school, people go on vacation, so it's just a good sound. So it brings back, that's the first memory that comes into my mind. So I challenge you in the comments below. Tell me what sound reminds you of summer. A good memory or bad memory. And let's see. Today I'm going to talk a little more. I got my Bestow shirt on, not my koala shirt today. Went to a different church yesterday to support my friend up there, sharing her story. And so I got to listen to a different pastor preach, and he said some things that I was like, I didn't know that those 4 words put together equals this. And I was like, I've experienced this many times, but I didn't know, or I never really sat and thought about it, that 4 things together equal this. So it's like a giant math problem. So there you go. When you said in school, when will I ever use math? Which is funny because I use math every day. Here's another math. 4 things equal something. So it says, desperation, anticipation, patience, and faith all come together. You know what happens? Miracles happen. So it's desperation, anticipation, patience, and faith all come together. So I was like, wow. I had never really thought that those 4 words together equals miracles. But miracles happen every day, and it's not necessarily a grandiose miracle like we think, or a television Hollywood kind of miracle. Little things together are a miracle. So I was trying to think of some stories. Well, me being able to get pregnant with Ellie, that was a miracle. I literally call her my miracle baby. I mean, 7 to 12 years trying to have a kid. It was only God that allowed that to happen. But I was desperate. I anticipated being a mother when I grew up. I had to finally have patience. So I mean, 7 years is a lot of patience. 70 minutes is a lot of patience for me, but 7 years, that was a lot of patience. And I had to believe that God wanted to make me a mother. I had to believe that. So much so that I even had a conversation. I said, if you don't want me to be a mother, then I am all right with that. I surrendered and accepted that fact, that may or may not have been happening to me. You know, and I got my miracle because I did have all 4 of those things together. Then even more recently with my mom, I had never taken anybody home on hospice. Prior to my dad passing away, I had never witnessed somebody die. And I got to witness my dad die. I got to hold my dog in my arms as she took her last breath. And I got to watch us put our other dog down. So prior to all of those things, I had never watched somebody die, other than TV, movies, and things like that. And that's not really how dying works at all. So there was a miracle again. I was desperate to get my mom home and get her healed. There was anticipation. There was patience. And there was a whole lot of faith. That I had all of those things so I could see a miracle happening of being able to take my mom home and watch her on hospice. Like, as soon as I made that decision, I knew all 4 of those things came in alignment so I could watch the miracle of my mom going to meet Jesus. It's not the miracle earthside that I wanted, but it still was a miracle. So I'm trying to think of some other stories that you guys think about them too while I'm talking. So all of that comes from through listening to the Lord speak to me lately, it's all about being real. Good morning, Denise. It's all about being real. We're not real enough. Like, I'm literally sitting on my back porch in tears again because I'm being real with you and telling you things. And that brings up emotion, you know. I went and supported my friend yesterday because she was being really real, going up and telling her story about things. I was being really real by being a friend and showing up for her. We have to get back to realness so we can walk through the muck with people, be real with them, and experience their miracles and help them see their different miracles. That's so much on my heart left, that people have to be real. Like, speak your mind and love to people. Like, don't beat around the bush, sugarcoat it. Just be real. Like, be real people sitting on a couch together, talking to each other. You shoot the bull, you cry, you laugh, you whatever, but be real. Like, the walls have to come down from people. Like, let your walls down. Let people in. And I know people don't like to do that because we build our walls up to protect ourselves from people. Because we got hurt once, so we think everybody else is going to hurt us. But you know what? I promise you're going to get hurt again. But you have to be able to let your guard down and let people in. And never keep everything that comes to the light just vanishes, because when it stays in the darkness, it grows. But when it comes out in the light, all badness just disappears. It really is a light and a darkness thing. It's a good and a bad. It's all the things. But when he was talking about that, miracles, I was like, that's exactly what happens. There's an anticipation. There's a desperation. And that's what I see today. People are so desperate, but they don't know what to do. They turn to things that they shouldn't turn to instead of just getting real. Like, I know people are on the surface level people. I know that. I literally introduce myself to people and say, hi, I'm Cindy. That's about as superficial as we're going to get. I'm going to ask you your name, your pet's name, or whatever, and then the next question is going to be something really deep. It's just what I do. Like, I literally dive right to the bottom. Let's get real quick. And that's hard because people are not used to having friends like that. People are not even used to having mom and dads like that. Like, you should be able to be open to people, and people should be able to be open to you. Like, be their soft place to fall and land and celebrate. At church yesterday, they said, when people came down to pray, like, come up here and pray. You might need to pray because you're standing in the gap for somebody. I had never heard that phrase until, like, I don't know, the past 7 years. Stand in the gap. I needed people during all of this to stand in the gap for me. You raise your hands for people because they can't hold their hands up for themselves. And I'm big on that too. I stand in the gap for people. Like, stand in the gap. Be the barrier from the darkness from people. I'm going to be really real again right now and just talk from my heart. I always tell Dana, I was like, when I mumble and fumble over things, it's when I'm trying to censor what I say instead of just what I was saying. So today we went to Chick-fil-A because, you know, I just love Chick-fil-A. As much as I try to eat better, it's just fun. I just equate eating and fun together. So Ellie saw one person and they've been all wearing masks at Chick-fil-A. And then the person that took our money and gave us our receipt, she goes, Ellie goes, she doesn't have a mask on. And I was like, I know. She's like, they don't have a mask on. And maybe many of you don't know, I mean, I won't wear a mask. I wear a mask to get on the airplane for my mom, and I wore a mask to get into the hospital, and that's the only time I would die on the hill was for my mom in mask. And I wore them for people to come see my mom if they thought that was better for them. But I didn't just do it out of blindly coming in line. So anyway, back to my story. And I was like, she goes, but everybody else is wearing a mask. And I was like, Ellie, I think it came down to she had to make a choice to get herself out of a mask in an employment situation that may have not been the best choice. And I asked her, I was like, if you had the option to not wear a mask at work or school or whatever tomorrow, but you had to do something that goes against what you believed in, would you do it? And it was an interesting little conversation, because I'm not in the workplace working for somebody right now. I work for myself. So I'm not put in that position of a rock and a hard place. Like, if you do this, then you can do this. But if you don't do this, then you have to do this. And I don't know. I don't like that for people. I don't like that they have to surrender something they really believe in and give something up just so they can freely breathe. Like, that just hurts my heart, that hurts my stomach, that hurts my brain, that you have to compromise. And I hate that people are in that situation. I can't stand it, and I don't even know what I would do in that situation. Well, I do know what I'm Cindy. I'd walk away from the job. I would say, peace out, see you later, this is not worth it. Even if I was the one in charge of getting food on the table for my family, I would figure out a way to not have to compromise my morals and values to do something that goes against all of that, just so I could be out of bondage of something. I know what I would do, but I know that that's hard for other people. I know that it's a hard choice, and I don't know. That's where I advocate for you all too. I pray for everybody every night. I pray for the teachers, the nurses, everybody, the food workers. You know, I pray every night that the light is seen and not the darkness, because it bothers me. And then Ellie had to tell her decision about that. Oh, would I do this so I could do this? And I was like, that's terrible that you have to make a decision to do that. So I don't know the policy there, but that was just my inkling and my feeling that person had to make a choice. That may have not been the choice they wanted to make, but it was the best choice for them to be able to go to work and be able to see their smile and be able to breathe the fresh air and not breathe your carbon dioxide back in yourself. So just know that I'm praying for all of you that have to be in that weird position where it's a divided thing. It's keeping people in the darkness again, and I don't like that. I really is. Like, I don't like people having to be in the darkness of things. So that's what I guess I'm talking about on a Monday. It was all over the place, but it really is true where anticipation and faith and desperation all come together to see your miracles. So, no, if you're battling something, and I know everybody is battling something, that lean into those 4 things. Lean into those 4 things and watch your miracle. But first, you have to lift your head up to be able to see. Don't be looking at the floor. Make sure you're looking up and ahead of yourself, that your miracles are waiting to be seen. And they're not necessarily, that was the other part of the talk, they're not necessarily the miracles I wanted, and they're definitely not in my timing. Like, I didn't expect to be 44 years old with no parents. That was not in my timing. That was God's timing. And your miracles really are in God's timing too, because there is always something that needs to be walked through and talked through. You know, somebody needed to stand in the gap for me so I could learn something. Somebody needed to introduce me to standing in the gap. Somebody needed to introduce, Mom and Dad introduced me to prayer and Jesus. Like, all these things have to happen, and it's all a story. I just saw earlier before I got on, it was like, if there's no risk for anything, there's no reward. There's also no learning. There's not anything. Like, for example, Ellie's going to go try out for a soccer tryouts for like a competitive team. I don't even know much about it, other than I talked to her today about how much she likes soccer as much as she likes horseback riding lessons. And you know what? I'm going to let her do it, because you know what you get? The experience of it. You get the experience of the trying it out. You get the experience of the figuring it out. You get the experience of not making it or making it. You get the experience of making a decision. Hey, I made it. Do I still want to do this? You get the experience of everything, of going from something that was recreational to competitive. So I think it's all experience. Do the scary, risky things, because that's where we grow the most, So I love you guys. I will see you guys here tomorrow. Bye.